Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bryan and Ryan podcast. We've been away for a couple of weeks, and now we're back to chat about some key issues and failures amongst our ATNS here in South Africa and some other global aviation news. How are you doing, pal?
What's up, guys?
Good to be back.
Absolutely, as always. It's always refreshing to jump back in the studio after a few weeks.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Been watching a lot of changes amongst like podcasts in general around the world, and sometimes having a bit of a break and watching what else is going on is always a good thing. In fact, my Bryan advisory later on is a bit of a focus on that. So I've enjoyed the time away. We didn't take a holiday to get it right. We don't actually take a break in the October period, but the podcast naturally is just. We tend to take a couple of weeks off in that October period, but I think we used it pretty well. Let's jump into it, though. The big news while we were away, and I'm not going to jump into the specific news stories of the failings of ATNS because I think this will be the third time we're speaking about it on the pod. It's not getting any better. In fact, it looks like it's actually getting worse. To fill people in that haven't been following the story, ATNS in South Aafrica, the cause of many delays and must be giving the airline shareholders grey hairs on a daily basis. It's basically due to their inability to sort out their paperwork required for the validity of approaches. I think dating back, 226 instrument approaches across the country were suspended. I think as of today, this might be slightly off, but 208 of those procedures remain suspended. And what looks like is happening is they're getting them done, but then as they are being done, then others are then requiring validations, and it's ongoing. And in fact, to be blunt about it, it looks like it's actually just getting worse.
It's getting way out of hand. The way I see it, I saw an interview where they were interviewing one of the head honchos of ATNS the other day, and I still thought, listening to this chap, they're doing things a little bit arse about face, where they should ordinarily be applying for exemptions before withdrawing their approaches, but they're withdrawing their approaches and then applying for exemptions from the CIA, and it's just causing chaos.
So what is the story there? I mean, let's just address it. Like I said, I don't want to jump into all the news stories because they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
But we saw people flying on an Airlink flight. Was it to Kruger and Mpumalanga the other day? These are overseas paying tourists that are coming to South Africa on one more so expensive holiday in the bush because it's not cheap, and they can't get in because of these instrument approaches and leading to diversions back to Joburg and all sorts of chaos. It's a very, very bad look for the country that's heavily reliant on trade and tourism at the moment. And I just feel that when it's easy to pick a side against ATNS and look like you're on the attack against them. But let's just be realistic for a second. These are instrument approaches that pilots use to fly into an airport safely. It's not like a thing you play games with. And these oaks are cocking it up on a daily basis. The accountability is next to zero. It's full of excuses and whatnot. And it has a major impact on safety, but it has a major impact on the people that actually are inevitably paying for all of this, which is the South African taxpayer, that once again gets absolutely nothing for their hard-earned money, half of it getting zicked out your account every month for places like this or companies like this to do their job, of which they're just not doing it, leading to delays, cancellations, diversions, and God knows what else, and there's just no end in sight. We always hear these famous words, skill shortages and, brain drain and all this sort of stuff. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just think it's just absolutely piss poor planning, as you said. There's no accountability. And the rot of corruption doing its thing on one of our state-owned enterprises.
Yeah, more of the same. Just the other day, I think there was apparently at Kruger one flight that landed, which happened to be a private jet from overseas, Global Express, which doesn't really need much in terms of ground-based instrument approaches because they got all the fancy toys on board.
Yeah.
The rest of the scheduled airlines all diverted. I think there must have been, in essence, close to 800, maybe 1,000 passengers affected that day that couldn't get to their destinations. And you talk about people being affected. The tourists, obviously, hard hit on their pockets, their travel plans totally destroyed. But I also think about the tour service operators, the tour guides, the transport companies, the shuttles, the charter companies that get messed around because of this. And that particular day, I went and looked at the weather at Kruger, and it wasn't like minimums where you needed a Cat 3 approach. It was...
You just needed an approach.
You would have easily landed off a Cat 1 ILS, but you just needed an approach to land off of it to get in there. So the fact that these disruptions exist because of that is just completely disgusting, actually.
The only place it seems to work is when you hit people in the pocket. And I hope that the airlines actually take them to task on this.
Yeah.
And, you know, what are they paying for? You know, to keep an airline afloat these days in South Africa, you have to be, man, you've got to be on your game. The margins are so small. We all know it. It's always been that way. And yet you have all these things, the foundation that's supposed to be there for you to work with is pulled away from underneath you. And it makes operating an airline, operating an aircraft, just take away the airline side, extremely difficult. And then when you add in your airline with pilots and all sorts of logistics that you have to take into account, and now an aircraft's delayed over there that you were going to use somewhere else later on, the detrimental and knock-on effect that it has is massive, and it just cannot go on. So something has to be done. No doubt this is not going to be the last time we're speaking about it. But what else do you say? That's it.
It has to be mentioned. I mean, it's we always enjoy talking about South African aviation, and I think most of our listeners like to be kept up to date on what's happening here in SA. But yeah, it's usually a lot easier when things are more positive. But this has just been dominating the last couple of weeks, and it needs to be addressed, man.
Needs to come to some sort of head. We've almost become a little bit numb to these things in South Africa. I think things go wrong, and you almost, I don't actually hear pilots complaining about this on a daily basis, even though it does affect their day to day. But we kind of, okay, it's something that we just deal with and then we carry on. But it's wrong. And in aviation, you shouldn't have these things. Aviation should work like a well-oiled machine all the time. The framework and the various organizations that you rely on should be running at an optimum level, and you should be able to rely on them. They should be 100% reliable so you can actually go and do your job properly. And that's not the case. And that is, it has a safety impact, and it's unacceptable. They must sort their shit out.
And I know also, most operators probably don't really have a solution in place. Obviously they're going to make noise about it, make big waves on the news and create awareness. But I was wondering, ATNS is a service provider that the airlines and various operators pay pretty hefty amounts to,
I would think so.
Navigation charges. You pay for all those services, so why not just not pay? Boycott them, and it's probably not going to fix much, but hit them in the pocket as well, because vice versa, tit for tat kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure what the airline's plans are, but I can't believe they can just carry on like this forever. Something's got to be sorted out. Some big news out of the UK the other day. Never nice to see, because it always reminds me of what it felt like for us. Eastern Airways, a British regional airline, has cancelled all its flights due to financial problems. The company filed for insolvency protection and is seeking new buyers or funding. The airline lost £20 million last year, owes about £26 million. Its closure leaves some UK regions without direct airlinks. The future of Eastern Airways depends on finding investors soon. So they've gone into what we call here in South Africa business, a rescue, which has a success rate of about 0. I saw Ryanair jumped on the bandwagon. They said, if you lost your jobs, we'll take you on. And I suppose that's a different thing with these times. At least there are jobs available.
Yeah.
And if you do lose your seat, there.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be for the staff there.
It still sucks though.
No, it does. I mean, you get settled into groove, you've got everything sorted, and then it's disruptive. But there are options, which I suppose is the light at the end of the tunnel.
You've spoken about this a few times. What was the other UK-based airline? Maybe we spoke about it last year. They also went into...
Isn't it Flybe?
No, but that was before.
Flybe
It was Thomson.
Yeah.
Flybe were in and out. Flybe was almost...
Flybe did go into liquidation just before Saks did.
Yes.
Remember?
Correct. Yeah. But then there was another one. I think it was Thomson, to be honest. I'll stand corrected. But the UK is sort of not riding the aviation wave, are they?
No.
I suppose Ryanair being so dominant there and then having these smaller carriers is not the easiest thing in the world to do business there. But hopefully those crew, not just pilots, but the rest of them, find jobs elsewhere, no doubt.
Yeah.
Not a nice story. Never nice to see an accident happen. This was the other day. Mombasa Air Safari plane crashed near, was it Diana Airport in Kenya, killing all 11 people. The plane went down minutes after takeoff. Victims included tourists from Hungary, Germany, and a Kenyan pilot. So not nice to see. Plane crashes suck. There are too many of them in South Africa, by the way.
Especially light aircraft at the
Light
moment.
aircraft. What the hell's going on?
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, was it earlier on in the year there was those 3 flight school airplanes that got lost on a cross country or ran into fuel issues? 2 of them crashed.
Yes.
One of them was fatal. Now last week,
Those were
another
slings,
2.
eh?
No, those were Cherokees. Those first ones. This most recent one was 2 slings.
2 slings, yeah.
Yeah, down near. It's funny enough there, Nottingham Road.
Yes.
I just drove past that the other day. We stopped there at that windmill, and still looked around. The weather wasn't that bad that day, but I mean, still thought to myself, I wouldn't go and bug around in a Papa Charlie.
It's a little bit that sort of weather. There's a little bit like where you were growing up there on the Nelspruit side through the mountains, and you skim below it, you get lower and lower and lower, and one thing leads to another. Yeah, not good. I hope they do curb that. And obviously another, I don't have it written here in my notes because I'm also sick of talking about it. And I can't believe it didn't go the way we thought it would go, is that 12-year engine ruling, which sort of went against the industry. You just, what? It's just nuts.
It's like there's too much focus on the wrong things, man.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly it. We're here talking main story about, epic failings on an airline level where they can't just get the basics right. And then there's a ruling like that, which is taking it was an FAA ruling, I suppose, and then, and trying to, I don't know, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. Focus on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
What Jordan Peterson's saying, put your own house in order before you criticize the world type of nonsense.
Exactly. On a positive spin, I don't know if you've seen it just the last couple of days, there's been quite a bit of traffic, especially on Fly Africa, about all the Safas that are getting upgraded on heavy metal recently
around the world,
Emirates. So it's quite nice to see.
Yeah. All over the place.
A lot of the Huxe that we know well that came up the ranks with us, some of them ex-Saks colleagues. But all big airframe captains now. It's quite cool to see.
It's nice to see. I think there was a lot of movements in that sort of 2022, 23, those years, and those guys now progressing to command. Yeah, very cool to see. A lot of recognizable names. The guys are all doing well. In fact, something that get we do bring up a lot, but it is true. A lot of these guys that are flying overseas, do us South Africans pretty proud because they all seem to do really well.
Yeah.
You very rarely hear about a guy going somewhere and he doesn't perform. So, the guys making the Saffers proud there around the world. Good to see. I laughed at this one. Wizz Air will test a new seating option called Wizz Class in December. The option will block the middle seat in some rows to give passengers more space. Does that ring a bell? Remember that flipping rule during the scamdemic?
That is going to fall to shit.
Yeah.
It's not even a last a day.
No, it aims to offer comfort without high first or business class prices. The trial responds to customer requests for legroom and quicker boarding. The middle seat blocking will only happen when needed, not on every flight. They've dragged their name through the mud. Was it the whole thing with the Abu Dhabi closed down? You know, if you want to attract pilots from, wherever in the world, and you set up a base, and then you, by mistake, send an email to the pilots to say we're closing the base. And now, I'm sorry you moved here and your family's here and whatnot, but and now we're just going to go somewhere else. In the business world, I'm not so sure that would fly so easily. But in aviation, somehow it seems to be like, okay, whatever, it happens. But it's absolute nonsense.
These oaks get away with it.
How?
And Imre will dig this because I know he always gets like...
punchy.
But was there because he had experience with him. But I mean... How does an airline like that can barely really make it? They open up and close down every so often, try and offer this kind of cuck.
Well, this is obviously because the flights aren't full. Let's face it. I mean, the flights. So this is why it looks empty, is because we're giving away the middle seat, so you've got some extra space. Yeah. So I had a chuckle at that one, but that whole middle seat just reminded me of traveling down to Cape Town in the in the early days.
Funny.
Riyadh Air signs a lease 787-9 lease ahead of its own fleet arrival. That was a company called Aviation. The plane will be delivered in late 2025. They've got a bit of a partnership going with these guys before their own aircraft arrive, and of course they did their maiden flight the other day. It was first passenger flight from Riyadh to London on October the 26th. Only staff invited guests were on this initial flight. The airline plans to fly daily between the two capitals soon. It's obviously going to be their first route. Riyadh Air aims to serve 100 destinations within the next 5 years. A lot of the staff that have been hired, and that including pilots, they're all there. Their jobs have started, the training and all the rest. So that's going to kick off pretty soon.
It's fast becoming a very popular destination. You check here, Delta Airlines as well also announced plans to become the first US airline to launch non-stop flights to Saudi.
There's so much money there, bro.
Hey, man.
There's so much money. Have you watched that Netflix series called Matchroom? It's about the boxing promoters and doing a lot of work in. I
started watching
in
it.
Saudi.
I haven't finished it,
Yeah, and you just see the amount of the amount of money there is pretty crazy. They're attracting all these sportsmen from around the world, and you see all this happening, and you wonder, geez, what's this airline, what's this place going to look like? Because you can imagine it's going to be. They've got a soccer World Cup at some point, eh? It's like 2030, somewhere down the line. I don't know how much of this is nonsense, but if you go and Google search it, you'll check. They're actually thinking of putting a stadium on top of a skyscraper. They've got these rendering drawings for it. They reckon they got this massive stadium with like 100,000 people.
On top of a skyscraper.
On top of a skyscraper.
And that's
reckon,
a match I will watch from my lounge.
And they were like in the article said, this is it. It's got to progress, and this is like next level. Like looks like an alien ship. This massive stadium on top of a skyscraper.
Yes, that's ballsy.
Hey,
that's ballsy.
It looks legit though.
Imagine tickets for that game are going to be. They're not going to be $100.
No, nothing in Riyadh is $100. Investigation into that near Prang in Nice. Pilots of the Nouvelle airplane that almost landed on an EasyJet plane at Nice airport. The pilots did not realize they were on the wrong runway. Air traffic control only told them to go around after they had passed the EasyJet plane. Poor Wizz, confusing runway lights may have caused a mistake. The investigation is still ongoing. To find out more details, near praying avoided at least.
Yeah.
That's it from the news side. As I said, I've had a couple of weeks away from the pod. I've been away. I went to Paris. Interesting, when you fly to Paris now on the way up, all the way down the west coast you end up. So you bomb out towards Angola there and then shoot up that way. And then on the way back, they come east coast, Egypt down.
I noticed that. A lot of people on Facebook and that are asking the same question because there are quite a few of the airlines, but it seems to be predominantly Air France.
Yeah, it looks like they're avoiding all the French territories sort of up there and then on the way back. It adds a good hour to your flight time.
How does that work? I mean, aren't they supposed to be chums? You'd figure that they'd get more direct routings.
Not so happy with each other, apparently. Yeah, so all in all, flight was good. I don't have too many airlines to compare it to lately because all I do is fly on Air France. But nonetheless, all pretty straightforward in and out of Charles de Gaulle, albeit now the last couple of times I've landed there, they stick you out on a real Delta-like bay close to the other end of Paris where you get on a bus and drive for about half an hour before you get onto a little tram train and takes you to your baggage.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a satellite parking bay. That's not the best after a long flight.
No.
You just wanna get to your hotel.
Exactly.
But this time did the right thing, got to Paris, and normally, the last couple of times I've gone into my sort of pilot mode when you go to a destination that you've been to lots. It's like, okay, I'm going to stick as close to the hotel as possible, spend as little money as possible. And it ends up becoming a long day because you can only check into your bloody room at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So this time, jumped in an Uber, went into Paris. Weather was awesome. It was like 22, 23 degrees, clear skies, packed, and it was really, really nice.
Very lekker, man.
Yeah, so I had a good week there. Good business week as well. Everything went well. But as I said, in my endeavor to give you a decent Bryan advisory this week, one of the things that I urge you to go and try, I mentioned to you at the end of the week last week, I said, the whole podcast landscape I think is changing a little bit. There's I just see a bit of a shift happening there, and I'm sure avid podcast listeners are seeing it as well. There are so many podcasts at the moment. I'm sure a lot of people's friends are seeing that everyone is producing a podcast. A lot of it is a lot of the same, but some of them are okay. Some of them are you wonder how long they'll last, because there are some very, very fancy AI tools out at the moment that are well worth a try. And one of them is a application called Huxe, Hotel Uniform X-Ray Echo. This is an app that was developed by the original guys and girls. There's a couple of girls there that started the development on Google's Notebook LM. So what they did, they separated from Google, and they really honed in on the little podcast elements on Notebook LM, the audio bit there. They honed in on that, and they've developed this thing which is actually pretty cool. You connect your calendar and your inbox, your email inbox, to it, and then you give it your interests. You basically say, look, aviation, whatever you're into, the stock market, this, that, the next thing, and quite a comprehensive list. Takes a bit of time to choose the things that you're interested in, and then every day it develops a little daily brief for you. So in the car on the way to work, instead of tuning into a pod, you actually go to your own customized podcast, because this is going to say, hey, Ryan, here's your daily brief. You've got on your calendar today XYZ. This is what's popped up in your inbox. This email looks important. Let me break it down for you quickly. I see you haven't read it yet. Let's break it down for you quickly. And then it goes into your interests in aviation news. This is what happened. And so quite a cool way of getting all your important things delivered to you. But what makes it neat is if it's when it's talking to you and it starts talking about a news story that you find interesting.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, can you go into that a bit deeper for me, please? And it will go into it a bit deeper.
It's insane. Eh?
Yeah. So it's actually quite a useful tool to use. I've tried it, and I said to you, I'm sort of worried about, where podcasts are going because maybe, but actually it doesn't kind of replace a normal podcast. It's more of a productivity tool than a replacement for a podcast, but it becomes your sort of personal audio
like
roundup or
yeah, you can
sort of
customize
preview
what you want to listen to instead of
exactly
being stuck listening to the radio
Exactly,
where these
yeah.
pipes on the radio are talking the biggest crap and then you got to listen to a million adverts in between. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's well worth a try. So check it out, Huxe.
Cool.
It's legit, and obviously it's I think a bit of a push towards audio. Audio is pretty useful because you can listen to it on the go. But then just an update on the Notebook LM that we've pushed quite a lot on the pod. Notebook LM now has got a video addition to that. So not only are you getting the audio sort of summary, there's a video summary as well. Turns your notes into video. So kind of useful. That's the first one. The second one that I've urged you to try, and I'm not sure everyone has tried it yet, is the new browser from ChatGPT.
Yeah. I've tried it and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's a
flipping
beast.
cool. Eh?
Yeah, so Google are they're going to take a major hit. Patrick Bet-David spoke about it a week ago to say they actually compared them side by side. So basically a browser like, you use it, for everything. And this ChatGPT browser works exactly the same way, except it's got the AI built into it. So it gives you the AI summary. It gives you the various websites that you can click on, but it's also got the ability to use agent mode in there. So your agent, depending on how much information it has of yours, can actually go and book the hotel and pay for the plane ticket and all the rest. So it's pretty wild on what it can do. So ChatGPT Atlas, it's called. Well worth a download there.
Yeah. We still joked about it the other day when we were talking about the names of these AR things and sort of was wondering, I mean, you can elaborate on this, but the conspiracy theory that's surrounding this with the aliens that are coming.
Yeah. On your, what's it called?
What's it?
3i
Atlas.
Atlas.
Astro
Yeah, so what I said to Ryan, I've got a colleague of mine who's very much into astrology and that, and I was chatting to him when I was in Paris. And I said, what's your take on this 3i Atlas? I mean, we actually, our last pod was on that.
Yeah.
And he said, what the hell are you talking about? He knew nothing of it. Yeah. And then when we searched for it on his computer, there was nothing there.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Then I started saying, but hang on, this ChatGPT Atlas and now 3i Atlas, are they not just throwing these things out there so that the names kind of, it worked on me because I saw ChatGPT Atlas. I was like, I'm downloading this thing straight away.
Oh, it's crazy.
So, yeah. Been watching any sport?
Yeah. Been keeping a close eye on the Formula One because I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with this championship.
Yeah, it's tight now.
It's tight now. I mean,
1 point in it.
Yeah. Lando's giving Piastri a point of a hiding.
Yeah.
But old Max is
lurking
not far behind. He's got to jump on it. So, yeah, the last couple of races have all been America side, so they've been shit for us to watch here, but
yeah, late at night. Yeah, I missed the last one live. I must say it was a bit too late for me. But turning into a good championship's going to go down to the wire, so tune into the F1. There was some very disappointing UFC last weekend because this heavyweight bout that we've been waiting for, Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn, it started off really well. Aspinall, major favorite, and then he got 2 fingers in the eye, sort of knuckle deep in the eye. I couldn't see. So the fight was called off, no contest. It's such a downer for the people that have gone there to watch, or even like when you stay up late at night or early in the morning and now you're watching this thing and then it ends in a no contest, you almost feel like
cheated.
You've been robbed there. So that wasn't very good from a UFC perspective. But of course, we got the November series coming up in the rugby, which is good. When does that start?
Next weekend, I think.
Is it next weekend already?
I'm not clear on the date.
It probably is next weekend.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, man.
Power, bro.
Sweet.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Those of you that want to join us on Patreon, please feel free to do so. And if you're on our Patreon, I've put that program together with myself and Laurie Graham, Kaizen and the Art of Command. I'm going to give that away to every single one of our Patreon supporters. So I'll give you the link for the videos and that for anyone on Patreon to check that out. So nice little add-on there if you want to join us on Patreon. And make sure you subscribe, like, pass it on to anyone that you think might enjoy our content. Thanks for joining us today. It's good to be back, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers for now.
Bye for now.